with the final kick of the game, Rory Beggan sends over an outrageous point, and Scotstown knock out Kilcoo, who were one of the favourites for the All-Ireland Club Championship. Of course, they won it a couple of years ago, knocked out by Glen last year, tipped by many to regain Ulster, and not to be knocked out by Scotstown.
Yeah, what results for Scotstown. And we were saying during the week that on my podcast that Kilcoo were probably the main favourites going into this game. But I did question, maybe you or maybe other GA fans, you look at this Scotstown team and you're thinking, why are they underdogs? You have the likes of Conor McCarthy in that team. You have Rory Beggan. You have Jack McCarron coming in this year from another Monaghan club. You have the Hughes brothers. And while I mentioned the Hughes brothers, Rory Beggan would get all the plaudits. But Kieran Hughes yesterday was absolutely incredible. The guy still has it. He still had it for Monaghan this year, the All-Ireland Championship, reaching the All-Ireland semi-final. And now again yesterday, unreal performance. Conor McCarthy, Jack McCarron, as I mentioned, look, Scotstown has a very, very good players. It was all about getting the right performance on the right day. And they definitely got that yesterday. What a performance to beat a Kilcoo team. And considering what happened, this might be an unpopular opinion, Seamus. I think a lot of club fans around the country are kind of happy to see Kilcoo go. And they're happy that Scotstown got that story. But Kilcoo, I think they'll be kicking themselves over the last 2 years since they won the All-Ireland. They've lost to Glen and they've lost to Scotstown, and not really good enough. I know the Down Championship, fair play to them, they beat Burren, but to lose to Scotstown in the way that they did as well in the last kick of the game, literally, must have been gut-wrenching for them. And Scotstown, unbelievable achievement for them to reach the semi-final. And who's to say they won't go on and win Ulster now? I know Glen are there, but Scotstown definitely have the players to compete and definitely to trouble the Ulster Championship. And Park Farley, a guy who's very active on Twitter and Facebook, I'm sure a load of people on social media would have seen his comments, his controversial comments and stuff like that, especially about Ulster football. But he said, he made a very good point. Scotstown, with the players that they have, should be competing for an All-Ireland. And I think they should as well. When you see them players in that team, Jack McCarron, Conor McCarthy, Rory Beggan, Darren Hughes, Kieran Hughes, that's like a third of your team, like the stars of the Monaghan team. And Monaghan have done well in the All-Ireland over the past few seasons. So what a win for Scotstown. Incredible story. And incredible that one of their stalwarts, Rory Beggan, gets that last kick of the game to win it. And you couldn't really write it, James.
Yeah, and would you say that is a contender emerge now? Would you say that now we have to actually look at Scotstown and be like, okay, this actually could win the All-Ireland Club Championship? Do you think, personally, I think it's going to be a Scotstown, Waddy Graham's Glen Ulster final. And do you think that if Scotstown beat Glen, that then they have to be right up there to win the All-Ireland, to win the whole thing?
It's a difficult one because I know I mentioned a load of players that they have, like Shane Carey, another one from centre forward. I forgot to mention Ryan O'Toole, who scored that ballsy goal against Tyrone early on in the championship. That's another guy to have at your disposal. But if they beat Glen, maybe they could be contenders. But the thing after that is, Seamus, they go on and play Kilcoo if they beat Watty Graham's Glen then. And that's another huge test. I would say that side of the draw for the All-Ireland, you have Scotstown, Watty Graham's Glen, Kilcoo. That is a shark tank of a side of a draw. And whoever comes out of that would definitely have to fancy their chances for the All-Ireland. If Scotstown go ahead and beat Watty Graham's Glen and Kilcoo, which they are capable of doing, when you look at the players that they have, which maybe it's kind of a last hurrah kind of thing with these sorts of players as well, with Darren Hughes, Kieran Hughes, Rory Beggan. They're experienced lads around the block for a long time, and they'd want a club championship, an All-Ireland Club Championship. That is, I know they've won enough Monaghan championships already, but even to win an Ulster Championship, it'd be massive for that group of players already. And for Jack McCarron to win it in his first season for Scotstown as well, incredible stories throughout the pitch. But I think they have very good players, but they're in a shark tank of a side of a draw. Kilcoo and Watty Graham's Glen, two sides that produced a very, very competitive All-Ireland final last year. And you need to go over them two sides to reach an All-Ireland final, not to win it, to reach an All-Ireland final. Yeah. That's going to be massive as well. And they've already came past Kilcoo as well.
And they could come up against a Curragh in the final.
It's incredible,
they could come
really.
up against a team like that.
Yeah.
Like a Curragh who will stick their chest out when they get to the final. It's not going to be easy.
It isn't, no. Not at all. And Scotstown will be wary of that. I think they'll be wary. Like, they do have the players, though. They have the temperament, they have the experience, and they have that win under their belt. That win would provide them with so much confidence. Like, over the past few years, Scotstown have been probably labelled as the chokers of Ulster club football. And I think a lot of Scotstown fans would agree with that, considering the players that they had their disposal and constantly losing in the quarter-final or preliminary round. But now they've got that win under their belts. And against Kilcoo, nonetheless, 2022 All-Ireland Champions, let's not forget, to win against those sorts of lads, it's incredible, really, from Scotstown. And I think it's the confidence booster that they really need going into an All-Ireland run, potentially coming up against Watley Grange and maybe even after that, Kilmacud.
Yeah, no, very, very true. Switching, like, we've given the credit to Scotstown, which they absolutely deserve, but at the same time, the comment you made earlier about Kilcoo being kicking themselves is on the money for me. They were 1-7 to 6 points ahead heading into the final quarter. Paul Devlin had hit the goal from a penalty. Like, they should have wrapped the game up from there, especially considering that, you know, it's tough conditions. Most of the games have been low scoring. If you find yourself 4 points up heading up into the final quarter and you're a team like Kilcoo with all that experience, I am surprised that they didn't close it out from there, even though Scotstown have the players that they do.
I am as well, considering, like, as you mentioned there, the weather conditions, the style of Gaelic football at the time, and the side the Kilcoo are. They're probably synonymous for dragging down players when they're going through on goal. Like, it's so many teams that have done that over the last few years, have closed out games brilliantly. You look at the prime example actually would be the Dublin ladies footballers doing everything in their power to avoid defeat in those last few moments. Like, Kilcoo, I would have ranked among that bracket. But to do that yesterday, I mean, serious questions have to be asked. And I'm hearing news now from Irish News. I think Carol O'Kane wrote the article, Carol Lacey, this might be his last season already. Like, that's incredible in its own right as well. Like, will he leave? If he leaves, is this the end of this Kilcoo dynasty? Will Burren fancy their chances of the Down Championship next year? A lot of questions have to be asked about them now. It's especially
Jim McGuinness.
Jesus, maybe. Exactly, yeah. But geez, I especially with the stuff that happened earlier on the year with the referee scandal and stuff like that, and wanting David Goff to be referee for the Down final and binning the Down referee, you'd have to think, if they have that kind of a mentality, you have to go on and at least reach an Ulster final. But they didn't. Yeah. So a lot of questions have to be asked about Kilcoo and the way they probably managed the game yesterday and probably managed their season overall. They seem to be coming in at the right time, at the right pace after their brilliant win over Derry Connolly last weekend. Like, they scored, I think it was 1-7 to a point at half-time, which was absolutely ridiculous in its own right. But they just froze in that last quarter yesterday. And it's one of them undescribable things. And especially with a side so synonymous with sides that would pull teams down no matter what, pull players down no matter what when they're going through and going. But you have to give credit to Scotstown as well. They had the temperament to put the ball over the bar. They had the right sense of mind to put over scores. Like in the last quarter, judging by what you said, 1-7 to 6 points, that would mean they scored 6 points in the last quarter. That's as much as they managed in the previous 45 minutes. That's incredible in its own right. You know? That's really takes guts from that Scotstown team, and they definitely deserve their flowers. But Kilcoo, a lot of questions has to be asked. And Carl Lacey, will this be his last year?
Yeah, difficult to tell. And then obviously the begging point, absolutely phenomenal to slot that over. I mean, a huge free. The guy has done it for years now. I mean, I remember the breakout one for me when I realised just how good Rory Beggin is at taking frees was against Dublin in the Alliance League. I'm sure you can remember the game in Croke Park. He hit one in particular where I was like, oh my God, what are you even doing? Thinking about shooting, let alone scoring from that range. Talk to me about this free. Wonderful execution.
So many angles, and whatever angle you see in social media gets better each and every time. Like, there was a side angle, there was the angle from the TG Carr camera. I think the best one though was from behind. There was so much pressure on him, and for him to nail that from that sort of a distance in the weather conditions that have been reverberating across the country as well, you have to remember that. On the sideline, near the sideline, It's incredible. And I do remember that kick against Dublin, the NSA. I remember it was treacherous conditions that night as well. And he was against the wind. How on earth did he get it over from that against the wind in treacherous conditions in a sizable pitch like Croke Park? I'd never know. And to this day, I'd probably never know. And probably in the future, I'll never know. He's just that kind of a player. He's a clutch player. When they need him, he steps up. What a player he is. And that kick might be probably the big thing in this Scotstown team for getting over the line in big games. They haven't done so in Ulster Championship over the last few seasons, and that kick might have changed the persona of the Scotstown team of the past few seasons. So what a kick in so many angles, so many facets of the game, and what a legend to do it. Like, he's been around the block, as I said, for so many years now, and to do it in that stage of the game when the margins are so tight, it's incredible. And what a kick for Rory Beggan, and what a player.
Yeah.